it would be a good idea to just recap on what design thinking as a process would entail in terms of major milestones that we can make use of while thinking as a designer and using design thinking techniques to follow through with various projects. And even though these techniques that I'll be, or this workflow that I'll be sharing is mostly used by designers and product designers, I think you'll be able to recognize some of the steps and some of the major milestones that you went through while preparing for the various projects. But in a different aspects, we can also apply them to design and visual elements that we can later make use of. So I'll try to share my screen in a bit.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, so basically design thinking has a set, as I said, a set series of milestones that we can use, and at various stages with the workflow, at times you would be diverging in your thought when you are collecting lots of insight and lots of information, and then eventually converging where you are trying to limit the scope of information and data you collected and trying to converge into a set idea or a set area of focus. And of course, every project revolves around starting with a brief and then conducting a thorough research. So when it comes to researching for logos, I understand you've done your research, your market research on what needs your various products or services respond to. But when it comes to the visual product and the visual feel of the actual service or the brand that you're designing, you'll have to do another research that revolves around collecting various stakeholders that you feel you can relate to, and then analyzing how they communicate visually and how what visual appearances they use, visual language, moods, feelings they portray. So it can be a competitor. You can start with competitors. You can analyze their websites, their logos, their social media. You can analyze their advertisements. And then eventually not just focus on the competitors, but maybe see a certain trend in your industry, for example. Maybe if you are into healthcare, then set hospitals or products dealing with various pharmaceuticals or healthcare tools would have a certain style or a certain trend that you can identify by going through the visual research. And so you can actually not limit your scope at this stage. So you can actually focus on researching the competitors, your industry, perhaps alternative products or services that that your customers might use or that might replace your actual brand, and might have another function but would still work well in the same context, and that your customers might ultimately drift towards. You can also research all kinds of design associations. They can be a good insight in terms of how or what trends are in the market and what designers are promoting in terms of types of visuals and types of best practices. And some of the websites that actually help you with the research are designer-based. So there's something called logolounge.com or logopond.com. They are a set of, these are platforms that collect all kinds of logos from all kinds of industries that you can skim through. And they also have trend reports and all kinds of reports and insights on every year about what to pay attention to and what insights you can gain from the market. And it's a great source of inspiration. And it's definitely something to look forward to. Actually, it's a great resource when it comes to just trying to have an idea about what's out there in the market. Sometimes having little maps like these can help structure the ideation process. So you can, as I said, you can focus on a core group of people, a core stakeholders that you can actually start researching, but then you can go wider in scope and not just focus on your industry, for example. You can focus on complementary industries that can work well, or stakeholders that you would be working with, some suppliers, for example, see how they communicate and what kind of visual ideas they have. You can see investors, for example, see what investors would be interested in, see how they promote some of their products and some of their startups, and see what from an investor's perspective. So if you were a venture capitalist or an angel investor, see what kind of websites and what kind of logos they would promote and they would prefer. They have a certain set of style as well that they can inspire. And you can go crazy at this stage with all kinds of research and all kinds of stakeholders. And I've collected some of them. And it's also very important to keep in mind that the research phase involves the idea that you have set for yourself. So you might already have a certain vision, a certain mission, certain unique selling propositions that you'd like to promote through your brand. But since every product very much has to be customer-based and user-centered, because you have to respond to a certain need, there has to be a certain process that you need to thoroughly understand before starting designing the logo and the whole application for the brand, because you have to understand where this logo will be used. So would it be only on a digital platform? Would it have a print application? Would it be used on packaging? Would it be used in small sizes? Would it be used in mega large sizes like a billboard? Or so you have to also understand where it is that you're applying your logo and where it is that your brand is going to be showing. And it has to also resonate with your target audience. So you have to find a common point where your ideas and your mission and your vision of the brand actually meets what the market needs and what's available in the market. And you can have two strategies. You can have the strategy where you actually fit in to the actual trend and you try to communicate based on the findings and based on your research in a style that is very similar to the styles of your industry and to the styles of brands that represent your kind of company or kind of product. But you can also try to have another type of strategy where you actually decide to deviate or move away from the set trends and try to stick out from the actual trend and come up with a whole new direction and a different type of style.